what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, the Black Business School, and I'm gonna give you guys time to come into the conversation. Take your time, everybody get comfortable, grab a seat, and because we are about to start our Powernomics conversation. We normally have Powernomics Thursday, as you guys know, but this week we're actually doing.
Hi, I'm Dr. Aaron Spingard, and
Give me a
today
second
we're
here.
talking
Hold on.
about
Okay, there we go. Let me
advancement.
turn this thing off. There we go. And today we're having Powernomics Friday because Dr. Claud Anderson is because we are coming to New York for the investment seminar that we're doing on Sunday. We had to move the date a little bit, but we are going to keep the thing going. And so everybody come in and get comfortable, and we shall begin our Black Powernomics conversation right now. So first and foremost, I want to welcome everybody and greet some of you that just came in. Delvon, Sienna, Jones, Cupcake Soldier, Tim Burchett, Jamal Brewer from Black Knowledge. Everybody, make sure you follow the Black Knowledge page on Facebook. It is that is our Black version of CNN, our Black version of CBS. Jamal Brewer is the superhero that created that page. It has 700,000 people on it, 700,000 Black people just like you. So go to Facebook, look up Black Knowledge. Stacy Doe, Miss Balance, David Salmon, Jones, I see Chelsea, Inglewood, what's going on from Ontario, Canada. Shout out your city. Everybody shout out the city that you're from. I see Brown Skin, Sweet Girl, Aboriginal, L, Chris Williams, Elijah, Levi. Hello, everybody. Shout out your city. Let's see, Gravel is from Philadelphia. I see Aboriginal L is from Chicago. I see London and Virginia. Okay, so let's get started here. First and foremost, I'd like to say hello to my friend, Dr. Claud Anderson is the author of the books Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, and Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. How you doing today, Dr. Anderson?
Oh, as I told you before, fair to middling.
All right. And you look great, and everybody's always asking me about you all the time. I want everybody, please give Dr. Anderson a digital greeting. Just give him a digital hello, and also make sure you always. I hope that you guys, if you agree, if you could always just make sure you throw in some signs of respect, because Dr. Anderson has paved the way for so many of us to do what we do right now. And actually, before we begin the conversation, one last thing I'd like to ask everybody to do is, if you're in the house, please hit that thumbs up button, and that notification bell is really important because you'll be notified when we go live. So on the count of 3, everybody hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell, and then type Black Power in the chat to let me know that you did it. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Everybody hit thumbs up, hit the notification bell, type Black Power in the chat. So let's get it started. In fact, actually, or you could type Powernomics. That'd probably be, if instead type Powernomics. We'll type them both, whichever one you want to do. All right, so Dr. Anderson, let's get started. I want to ask you this. Let's just start with something that you and I were talking about in terms of some of the political movements that are going on. We got the 2020 elections happening next year. Black folks, of course, everybody wants the vote from Black people. And you are an expert on many things involving the Black community, particularly Powernomics related topics, as well as things like reparations, which are hot button issues right now. I'd like to ask you this, I guess, to get a general overview of how do things look in your mind in terms of the odds of our people obtaining reparations, and also what is your perception about how we've gone so far in terms of how we've organized that fight for reparations? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's going to be hard to get reparations, but we're on the right track. and let me set a context for it. Notice how in the last 3 or 4 years, there's a major emphasis being placed on slavery. Everybody's talking about slavery. Everybody's talking about reparations, and everybody's beginning to focus on Black history. But that's no accident. You see, I devoted 60 years of my life, Dr. Watkins, went way back when everybody said, Dr. Anderson, you're just radical. You're just crazy. Why you focus on that? We got social integration and civil rights. I said, that's not going to help you. That has nothing in the world to do with it, but with improving the quality of life of Black folk. Excuse me. As that cannot improve the quality of life of Black folk. They said, why not? I said, because you're not focusing on the issue you should be focusing on. And I said, I'm going to leave government, and I'm going to start writing books, giving speeches, set up a Black think tank, putting out over 100,000 newsletters, filing lawsuits out of my own pocket to fight for Black folk. to get black folk on the right track. I said, this social integration and this civil rights movement is taking black folk the wrong way, taking them backwards. And you're looking for the wrong thing. I said, what are you looking for? Again, they said, well, we're looking for social justice. I said, black folk don't need no damn social justice. They need economic justice. And I said, I said, white folk have made social justice into integration. That's a waste of time. Anybody who knows that if you're an out group, Dr. Watkins, and you're a pariah out group, black folk are a pariah out group that's not in the mainstream. You're outside and underneath the system. You're outside of it. It doesn't make a damn bit of good, Dr. Watkins. Whether you're in good times or bad times, nothing is going to appreciate the quality of life of black folk in the mainstream. You're going to stay in the bottom. That's why, as I told you in the Black History Reader, in the first question there, that there's a social construct that black folk are locked into. They're locked on the bottom. That's why I predicted 60 years ago that what would happen to them after the year 2013 and 2015, they would become a permanent underclass. That's why the United States Department of Commerce issued a proclamation and a pronouncement in the 2014 saying that black people are on the bottom, underneath everything. And so when you start talking about the political issues right now, black folk are watching a form of entertainment. All these political issues right now that's going on, watching about what Trump, who gives a damn about what Trump is doing? That's an absolute waste of time. That's a form of entertainment for the white society. It's not gonna have any measurable impact on black folk. But unfortunately, they got all the black elected officials and the civil rights leaders participating in the sham, because there are 350 million white Donald Trumps in America. That's why nothing has changed for black folks since slavery. Why you got to worry about what Donald Trump? You still need to worry about what's going to happen to black folk. And the worst part about that, if you don't understand that, if you're a permanent underclass outside and underneath the system, where you own and control less than 1/2 or 1% of anything of value, you don't control a damn thing. Why would you on the bottom of a pile be worried about what's happened to the people on the top of the pile? If Donald Trump and these political figures are playing games and they want in the form of entertainment, whether in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, you can't impact it. You can't stop. They want to destroy the world, let them destroy it. You can't stop them. You can't. To be able to change the conditions, you must have power to change people's attitudes and the conditions. Black folk have no power at all. The only power they have is the one power that they have not even gotten control of that. You know what that power is, Dr. Watkins?
What is that?
The one thing that they do own, they can't even use that to empower themselves. You know what it is? It's their labor. It's their labor. White folks still control black labor. That is black labor is what gave white folk all the wealth. And so so what I'm saying now, first thing, forget about everything you see on the TV and reading the newspaper. That has nothing to do with black folk. This is probably the first time and the last time black folk are gonna ever have a chance to get out from the bottom. We need to be focusing all of our time and energy and saying, how do we take advantage of all this confusion and try to come out of a ditch to try to own and control? That is the key, own and controlling resources. We own and control nothing now of any consequence. And so now I'll go a little further, but specific, but I didn't want to talk too long on one point, but I want to set the context that right now, don't pay any attention to all this stuff on the radio and TV and in the newspapers about politicians, about who's going to get elected. And black folks say, well, we're going to put in the Democrats or Republicans. They must understand neither the Democrats nor the Republicans have ever done one damn single thing specifically and solely to help black people. Black people don't understand that when they were enslaved, they didn't belong to any political party. For 360 years, black folk did not belong to any political party. And guess what they got? They got screwed over and enslaved. They got classified as 3/5 of a human being, equal to a field animal. They were denied their humanity. They were lynched, castrated, exploited, misused, abused, and denied a right to own property, anything else. That was when they didn't belong to any party. Now, come about 1850, late 50s, now after slavery ended, here comes another change. Because during slavery, guess who was doing all the enslaving from point 1 to point 2 up to 1850? It was the Democrats. The Democrats was the ones who did all the enslaving. From the forming of the country in 1789 up to 1860, the Democrats were the people that were enslaving black folk. They were the people who were castrating and lynching you. They were lynching one black every 2 damn days in the country. Now, when slavery ended, guess what? Black folk then got that first chance to enjoy and get engaged in politics. So what do? They joined the Republican Party because they said the Democratic Party has been enslaved. And Lincoln, he's a Republican now. They just formed a Republican Party. Let's join that. So they joined the Republican Party in 1860. And the Republican Party tried to help them for about 10 or 15 years. Only 10 or 15 years, the Republican Party tried to help them. That's the period they call Reconstruction, okay? From 1860 up to about 1870, 1875. And that was it. And then what happened? The Republicans started screwing over black folk. What did they do then? They Jim Crow segregated them and put them back into semi-slavery. So the Republican Party then took over where the Democratic Party left off and then doing black folk in. And so black folk now belong to the Democratic Party, almost 100%. And the Democratic Party screwed over black folk up until about 1948 to 1950. All blacks belong to the Republican Party. And guess what? They got nothing but Jim Crow segregation and castration and lynching out of the Republican Party. Now, after the Civil Rights Movement, guess what happened? Black folk got free again from political identification. By the 1960s, they said, well, what we'll do, we got messed over by the Democrats. What we'll do now, we'll get out of the Republican Party and let's go back and become a Democrat. And when the rednecks found out blacks would become a Democrat, guess what? The redneck Confederate states on the map, they switched parties again and became the Republican Party. So now the Dixiecrats, the Confederate redneck states, who started off enslaving black folk, they switched parties twice. Now they're a Republican Party. So the final analysis is, I don't care what black folk want to do, what party they want to belong to, the whites are always going to switch parties to make sure they stay away from black folks, so they owe black folk nothing. And that's why in the history of this nation, not a Democrat in a public office, neither a president from the Democratic Party or Republican Party has ever done a damn thing specifically and solely to correct the conditions imposed on blacks by centuries of slavery and Jim Crow semi-slavery. And that's where you start talking about reparations at that point.
All right, everybody who's watching, I'm speaking with Dr. Claud Anderson. He's the author of the books, Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, and Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. His website, if you want to check out his books and subscribe to his YouTube channel, is powernomics.com. That's powernomics.com. So everybody, please take a second and go take a look at powernomics.com. I'm broadcasting from New York City, Midtown Manhattan. We are doing a financial Juneteenth investment seminar tomorrow. I'll be joined by Mary Dean, aka the Wall Street Lawyer, and we're going to basically break down all the things you need in order to build family wealth for the next generation. We're going to teach you how to get off the grid, how to overcome whether it's student loans or multiple streams of income or whatever it is you're trying to do. We have unique solutions that are proven through scientific study to help you to improve your economic condition. And the number one thing I'll say to everybody just watching is you have to do something different in order to get something different. If you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get what everybody else is getting. So anybody who wants to join us in New York, don't try to just show up at the door because we may not have any passes. It looks like we might sell out. So you can go to drboycenewyork.com. That's drboycenewyork.com. It's on Sunday morning. We're going to go all day long, 8 hours long. So everybody hit the thumbs up button, by the way, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button. So let me ask everybody a question, then I'm gonna ask Dr. Anderson a question. So give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no if you all feel that whether the Democrats or Republicans get elected in the next election, that's going to make a difference in the state of the Black community. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of a Donald Trump presidency. They feel the whole world's going to fall apart. Do you feel that if the Democrats get elected in the next election, that will substantially improve the condition for the Black community? I see Todd says no, Angelique no, Jimmy, Ben, and Jude say no. Ron 2000 says he got deported. There was no movement. Okay, I don't know what that is. I guess y'all having a conversation over there. T-Mac says no. Catherine, Mr. Bengodi, no. B-Man, Carlo, Matthias, Dual Victory, Fred Everett. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of no's. Terry Jones said hell no. Okay, so Shara says no. Okay, so Dr. Anderson, what do you think, when you're seeing just so much energy, right? I have friends on Instagram and on social media, and all they do is they tweet about Trump all day long. All they do is they talk about Trump, 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 Trump. And you struck a chord with me when you said that this is all just entertainment. That this is, when I think about entertainment, I think about something that we get emotionally invested in that doesn't have any real impact on our lives. So I know, because I know a lot of people are mad because Trump wants to build a wall. And I said, unless he's building a wall in a black neighborhood, I don't give a shit. I'm not that. I know it don't mean I don't care. I don't care if he builds the wall. I don't care if he don't build the wall. That ain't got nothing to do with me and my people. What do you think is the mechanism in the process that they use to get us so emotionally caught up in what white folks are doing? Or is it because we just love to serve other people? We, like you said, the people on the bottom serve the people on the top. So we feel it's our job to go and help these wealthy white people to secure power because we earn our meritorious manumission. Well, what's going on with that?
Well, you hit it dead on the head already. I can just repeat what you just said. That started coming out after the Great Depression. Where see, black folk, the only time black folk made substantial progress economically in the country was doing what most people don't know, was doing Jim Crow slavery. Did you know that? That's the only time black folk were making strong economic progress in this country, was when white folk forced them to do what they should have been doing instinctively. When blacks got out of slavery, Dr. Watkins, from that point up until after the Great Depression, 1930s, black folk understood that the primary thing was not social, it was economics. That's why they were asking for the 40 acres and a mule and $100. They wanted to own and control something. And black folk took a little bit of money they had. And I'm gonna come back, and when I finish, to come back to the 1860, ask me about it, about the Freedmen Bureau. But then when black folks said, we're gonna get together and start owning, they started buying as much land they could, because we gotta own land and hold on to it. And between the end of slavery up to about the end of the Depression, 1930s, 1920s, black folk had acquired 20 million acres of land. Did you know that? Those poor slaves, black ex-slaves who didn't have any education, they've been denied the right to learn how to read and write. They had learned that they had to own and control something. So by 1920, they had acquired over 20 million acres of land in the United States. And in terms of businesses, they didn't have any education, but guess what? White folk had forced them to do what they were unwilling to do right now, and what these civil rights leaders are misleading black folk into. Those black folk, white folk forced blacks to live with each other, to support each other, care about each other under segregation. They started building their own businesses. Black folks started building their own businesses. Those black, poor, uneducated blacks knew that they were the only people on earth that have been denied the rights to industrialize. Nobody, every other group of human beings on earth have gone through the Industrial Revolution. When the Industrial Revolution started in Europe, blacks were enslaved in the 1700s. When the Industrial Revolution went through the United States in the 1800s, they were still in semi-slavery. Blacks have never learned how to build industries. But those poor blacks coming out of slavery said, we're gonna get land and start building businesses. And in proportional terms, Dr. Watkins, for every 100,000 people during that period of time that were black, blacks owned 20 times more businesses than they have today. I'm gonna say it to you again. For every 100,000 blacks that were in the United States during that bad period from after slavery up to the 1930s, blacks owned 20 times more business than they have today. Those blacks didn't have any education, but guess what? They were building factories. They were building hair factories. They were building broom factories, mattress factories. They started trying to build railroad lines in Jacksonville, Florida, and out in Little Rock, Arkansas. They had started a shipyard in Baltimore. They had their own movie theaters. They had about 15 or 20 movie theaters at that point in time. Every black community had a movie theaters. They had a chain all the way across the United States called the Lincoln and Lafayette Theaters. Blacks had their own restaurants, hotels. Blacks were learning how to practice group economics. They said, even though you white folk have never given us anything, we're gonna start bringing everything together and aggregate it and practice vertical integration and building and be able to compete. And that's the only time they ever got a chance to do that. But here's what happened. That by the end of the Depression, when the Depression wiped out everybody else, it wiped out a lot of these black businesses. And then your civil rights leaders jumped in on it, and your black ministers jumped in, and your black politicians jumped in and say, hey, you blacks don't have to rebuilding more businesses. Why don't you just simply, by 1938, 1939, why don't you just simply go for universality? Get away from all that blackness. You don't have to own anything. Get away from that blackness and started looking for universality, which meant social integration. And so at that point in time, blacks didn't want to rebuild anything. What they did then, they asked whites to come in to their segregated communities and start setting up businesses. And one of the first groups they invited in were the Jews coming into the United States at that time. From the end of the First World War up until that point, almost 30 million people immigrants came in. They invited them all in to come set up businesses in the black communities. And so that's how we got social integration of that in effect. But at that point in time, blacks learned how to chase social integration rather than rebuilding their communities and everything.
Interesting. You know, and it's real funny because we really seem to still have a mindset that says that when people come into our communities and set up businesses, like we will thank them for that. Like we really feel like they're serving us. You know, I don't know if you know this, Dr.
That's the craziest ass thing I've ever heard in my life. Nobody's that damn dumb unless they got a license, a certificate based on stupidity. Go ahead, though.
well, let me tell you this, Dr. Anderson. I just saw an advertisement. Well, not an ad, but it's an article about Popeye's Chicken. Popeye's Chicken is getting ready to release their chicken sandwich. And last time, black people broke the internet so they could go give $100 million to Popeye's Chicken. We can't raise money. You know, when I go out and try to raise money for a school or for some sort of community project, you know, you can't get that money. But Popeyes came out with a chicken sandwich, and they raised $100 million overnight so they could sell us refried diabetes. And basically, they just recently announced that the sandwich is coming back in November. And so Popeyes went out on a hiring spree where they went out hiring a bunch of new employees. They started making major capital investments to prepare this time for the fact that they know for a fact that when black people show up for those chicken sandwiches, it's going to be tens of millions of dollars just flowing out of the black community in exchange for chicken. And, you know, and that makes me think about what you always talk about with the doctrine of unequal exchange, that, you know, you're giving them real hardcore cash and they're giving you fried chicken, which you could make by yourself. You know, we make pretty good chicken in the black community. And so what are your thoughts? You know, when I tell you a story like that, when I tell you what Popeye's Chicken is about to pull off, and they use interesting marketing tactics. They actually have a black lady that they will put on the commercial and she would use possessive terms like my chicken, my recipe, my formula. It turned out this lady doesn't own anything in Popeye's Chicken. She's not an owner of the business. She doesn't make the chicken. It's not her recipe. She's just an actor. What are your thoughts on everything I just shared with you?
Well, that's pretty common. See, because black folk were educated to be able to be dependent on other people. That's one of the primary principles of enslaving a person. A slave is acculturated and brainwashed in being able to serve, S-E-R-V, serve the master, serve the other dominant group, to be at their beck and call, to do what they have to do, to see the world through their eyes. Blacks were trained to see the world through the eyes of whites. And so consequently, they were taught also not to own and control anything, because see, up until the Civil War, blacks were classified as property. And guess what? Property cannot own property. Property cannot have any value in and of itself. And so consequently, blacks never learned how to practice group economics, or what you call the property of unequal exchange. They never learned that. And so after the Great Depression, and these civil rights people said, let's move away from our blackness. No more blackness. No more. Let's move away from W.B. Du Bois talking about black politics, and Marcus Garvey talking about black economics, and Carter G. Woodson talking about black education, and Elijah Muhammad talking about black religion, and black artists and entertainers talking about the Harlem Renaissance, about blackness. They said, let's get away from all that blackness. And that when they started that, blacks started downhill. That killed the black folk movement in this country. So now blacks don't practice group economics anymore. We used to have practice group economics. We don't practice it now. So 98 cents out of every dollar that touches a black man's hand or a black woman's hand in the United States, he rushes to give it straight to a white person. Straight to it. It doesn't change. It doesn't never touch another black hand. Now that is devastating. Devastating when you got a population who would spend 98 cents out of every dollar, puts it in everybody else's hand. That is a form of voluntary impoverishment. They volunteer and impoverish their own people and enrich others. That's why right now, that in a given, right now, 90, let's say, let me be more specific. About 96 cents out of every dollar goes into the white community from black hands. About another 2 to 3% of that goes into 2% goes into Asians, Arabs, and Hispanic businesses in black neighborhoods. Only 2% of blacks, 100% goes into black hands. What that means is that's why, now watch this, it's just the opposite with the other groups. The other groups, guess what? They don't spend any money in the black communities. They go to take money out. When you put in a Popeye restaurant or a McDonald's or Burger King into a black community, they're not going in there to give you money, they're going to take money out. You're going into a franchise agreement, which means that the person that owns that restaurant, he gets an income off it. But whites push their products into a black community and bring the money out. So that every business in the black neighborhood right now is owned and controlled by somebody other than black folk, 98%. That means it's owned by Arabs, Hispanics, Asians, or whites. That means that every night, Dr. Watkins, and you're in economics, every night, and just think about this, think how devastating this is biologically, psychologically, and economically. Every night at 7 o'clock to 7:30, every black neighborhood in America goes bankrupt. On a regular as a clock, I can set my watch. I can tell time by watching every night as the black community goes bankrupt. It stays bankrupt until the next morning when the sunrise come up and the people got those businesses in the black neighborhoods come and open up the stores again. Then black folk line up to go down to the local store, the local gas station, and buy something from somebody other than their own people. Nobody's that damn dumb. But by the same token, because everybody else is boycotting black communities, they're boycotting you. They're just bringing products in, taking your money out and boycotting you. That's why as old as you are right now, you've never in your life have you ever seen, well, let me go back. Let me say it another way. As soon as a black person gets paid, he runs straight from his office or his job straight to a store owned by someone else and spends that money. Now, but have you ever seen a white person, for instance, or an Asian, an Arab, or a Hispanic person on an evening rushing to get into a black neighborhood and buy something owned by a black person, produced by black people? Ain't never gonna happen. Never happen. That's why blacks keep impoverishing themselves. And you keep telling them, why don't you learn how to spend your money with your own people? They say, well, Dr. Anderson, I ain't gonna spend no money with no Dr. Boyce Watkins because I'm not gonna make that Negro rich, give him any money. He's selling them damn books. I ain't buying his books. I'll buy the white man books. I ain't buying that nigga's books. And so, I'm telling you, and nobody ever taught them. Civil rights leaders and the black politicians never taught them. Why don't you learn what we call the cost-benefit analysis? Where do you get the biggest benefit? By spending your money with your own people, by buying Dr. Watkins books versus buying a white book, and putting the money back and keeping the money in your own community and circulating it, and what Dr. Anderson saying, Powernomics, making that money bounce 8 to 12 times in the black hands. That every time I got money to spend, I'm going to find me a black person to spend it with and tell that black person, you put it in another black person's hand. Now, Jews teach their kids that in the synagogues, starting in the early grades. The Jew will go into those synagogues and say, look, tell those Jewish kids that whatever you want to buy in life, remember this, there's always a Jew producing it, manufacture it, and sell it. That's who you buy it from. Buy it from your own people first. And that's why here's the result of that group economic phenomena. Hispanic money bounces 6 to 7 times before it leaves their hands and goes to anyone else. White money bounces 8 to 12 times before it goes to anyone else. Arab and Asian money bounces 13 and 14 times before it goes to anybody else's hands. Jewish money bounces 18 times before it goes to anybody's hand. Guess what? These Negroes' money doesn't bounce once. Okay? Yep. But I'll give you a long story. That was a long story. You didn't ask for that long story.
You made an excellent point. Does everybody understand what Dr. Anderson is saying? Give me a yes or no if you get what he's saying. If you understand what we're talking about here. We're talking about changing habits. You know, it's and by the way, I want everybody to know, if you just came in, I'm talking to Dr. Claud Anderson. He's the author of the books Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. If you want to bounce your dollars into toward his think tank and toward your own family's prosperity and your own family's understanding, go to powernomics.com. Powernomics.com. That should be your first library. That should be the place where you get your first books for your kids. I gave all my kids copies of Powernomics, and they're all big fans of Dr. Claud Anderson because I don't see this anywhere else. And also, I want to say thank you very much to Minatzer, who just made a donation. Thank you very much for making a donation, a super chat. If you have a business that you want me to mention, I'll shout out your business. If you do a little super chat support, and it lights up in a color where I'll see your comment, see your question, or also I can see your business. If you got a URL for your business, I'll shout out your business. And in fact, actually, I want everybody to kind of hear just, you know, what Dr. Anderson is talking about. I want, you know, that's the theory of what we're trying to do as people. Now let's put some of that into action, because and I want to share this example if you guys want to understand this, if I may, because what Dr. Anderson said struck a chord with me. I don't know if any of y'all have Black businesses and have dealt with Black people who seem to have a much bigger issue with a Black business than with a white business. You know, I have seen, you know, and sometimes you see right here on the internet, you'll see Negroes become, you know, Sherlock Holmes, CSI, private detectives in terms of trying to figure out if a Black business owner is a scammer, but they say nothing about white business owners. I've yet to see any of these Negroes run around, you know, attacking Black businesses. I've never seen any of them go after Popeye's chicken to say, well, how much diabetes, heart disease, you know, colon cancer, whatever else do they put in their chicken when they're selling it to Black people? Like, who are these white people that are getting all this money? What are they doing with their money? They never do that. But they will go deep. They will do an anal probe on a Black business owner because he's selling a $20 book, or like even right now, Dr. Anderson, you know, and I like transparency. I think the answer is transparency and shining light on stuff. Light, sunlight, light is not just power. It's not just warmth. It's also a disinfectant where you can kill the bacteria. So I'm gonna shine some light on some economic issues so that we can kill some of the bacteria in our community, some of the rodents, some of the viruses that we have that are destroying our ability to progress. Here's what I'm doing. Now, you guys know right now, for example, we're in New York right now. We're doing an investment seminar in New York on Sunday. In New York, this is not free. This is not free. Our lowest cost ticket is a child's ticket for $99 or an adult's ticket for $199. The prices go up based on what services that you want. We have a 100% money back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason. We rarely, if ever, have to give any refunds because everybody loves the event. Like literally, Dr. Anderson, when we do surveys, customer surveys, 98% of our customers who've gone to these events have said this was well worth it. This was better than college. This is the best I ever got. Like, you know, it bothers me that I have to go that hard because it's almost like if you're Black and you run a business and you are not perfect, then people will call you a dirty, dangerous, scamming Negro and a liar and a crook and all those other. And I'm sitting there thinking, you got white people that are robbing you in broad daylight and you ain't said nothing about that. We're providing you something that we know is proven scientifically to shift the trajectory of your family for the next 100 years. And you're going to say something about that, but you have nothing to say about all these white businesses that are selling you poison, that are taking your money and running. And here's the other thing. This is the other thing. Again, I told you I'm shining the light so we can kill the bacteria. We can kill the viruses with this. When y'all spend this money on these events, let me tell you where that money's going. To run this event in New York, those dollars are bouncing right back into the community because we had to spend $23,000 at a Black-owned hotel in New York City. We have thousands of dollars we spent on Black team members, Black employees that we brought up to help us run this event. We had to spend thousands of dollars, whether it's on shipping and all kinds of other administrative expenses to make this thing go off, to make this thing happen. And then on top of that, every month we pay tens of thousands of dollars to Black people and Black businesses to run the Black Business School. Everything's Black, 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 Black. But it's hard to make something very, very Black, extra Black, super Black, because there are Black people who hate the word Black. When they hear the word Black, that is a trigger to make them say Black must be bad. Black is dirty. Black is low quality. Black is substandard. When I was teaching white kids at Syracuse University, I didn't have to deal with none of that. They paid $50,000 a year to learn from people like me, and were happy to pay it because they understood the importance of investing in their families and their communities and all these other things. You bring this to the Black community, you got to go through a whole nother procedure, and it don't matter. Some people are never happy. So I really almost feel like we have a part of our community that's almost like we talk about an infection. We've been infected with white supremacy, infected with this idea that black is inferior, that black is evil, black is bad. And like any infection that's going through the body, sometimes you got to amputate. And so so what I did, Dr. Anderson, when I told you, because you guys, some of y'all have seen, the vitriol and the negativity and the craziness, like the fighting over the whole reparation. How are you gonna fight over whether or not we should get reparations? That don't even make no damn sense. But people just wanting to fight all the time. And I told y'all, we're not fighting black people this year. We're not doing it. We're amputating. We're going to amputate. If you think that what is going on here, if you looking at everything we're doing, all the hundreds of thousands of people that we have elevated, all these people that we have helped, and you can't see nothing but negative there because your jealousy, your insecurity, your unhappiness, or your inferiority causes you to walk away with negativity in your mind, not negativity in your mind, then we're going to amputate you. I really think that we have to amputate and move the ship forward because we've got some black folks that are not as bad as white people, Dr. Anderson. They are worse than white people. They're not as bad because white people don't get in the way when we're trying to build, when we're trying to grow, when we're trying to invest, we're trying to learn. It's the black people. That's the craziest thing. So Dr. Anderson, please feel free to jump in.
Let me jump in where you are, because you see, you're right on point and you covered it pretty well. But by talking about the quality of the product, that blacks see, I wouldn't even stop there saying, well, the quality of the white product might be bad or this is bad. What you should say, it doesn't make any damn difference. It doesn't make any difference. Whether the quality, whether or not white chicken is bad versus black chicken. Black folks should say this. It should be called based on a cost-benefit analysis and saying, where am I supposed to be spending my money? Period. Because I'm in a competitive relationship between groups of people trying to survive, and that means that as an example, and do I spend my money with an Asian, Arab, or Hispanic, or do I spend it with my own people so that money can bounce around 8 to 12 times before it leaves? That's critically important. And they need to quit, and they need to accept this, that there are black people who can go in business. They can sell a product that might be inferior to the white product. Who gives a damn what is inferior? If you're going into business, if you're going to start becoming a competitive group, you got to build industries vertically ordered, provide a quality service. If you're going to go in, what you should say is that I'm going to buy. I got a black store here that's selling chicken and bread, and I got a white store here selling bread. Now, the black store's bread is a little harder, not as quite as fresh as the white bread, and it costs 5 cents more. Or do I go to the white store and put my money and buy that white bread that might be a little fresher, I can get a nickel cheaper? That's bullshit to do that. We should say, no, I don't give a damn what the white store, the quality of it is and what it's costing. I'm going to my own people's store and I'm gonna buy it from him, but I'm gonna talk to the owner and say, now we're under the Powernomics principles. We're gonna fight to compete for economic principles and economic endowments in this country, period. And what I want you to do, I'm gonna buy your product. Yes, your bread might not be as fresh as the guy next door. I'm gonna buy it from you and I'm gonna give you a short time to be able to improve the quality of your bread and get your prices down, give you a chance to get your business stabilized, fixed with a foundation. And I'll give you 6 months. I'll buy from you for the next 4 or 5 months, but so that money will bounce. That's the first thing. And secondly, when you get spend my money with you, you find another person that you're buying your ingredients from and buy it from him. Make sure he's black. That's the way they play. That's why Jews said, I ain't spending no money in no black neighborhoods. Like when blacks came here to Washington, D.C. and went down to 8th Street to the Asian town and wanted to sell products to the Asians. I might have told you this story before. They met with the Asian merchants, said, we want to sell some products to you Asians. And the Asians said, okay, we're listening. He said, what we want to do is sell you some of the same products you got on your shelves in those Asian stores. And what we'll do is that we'll sell it to you for 25% cheaper than what you're paying presently. And the Asians say, we appreciate that, but we're not interested. He said, well, we'll sell it to you and deliver it first and faster. They said, we're still not interested. And so finally, I know this group of blacks that was talking to these merchants, and the Asian merchant said, well, but then the black said to the Asian merchant, well, why aren't you interested in buying our product that we blacks are selling to you Asians, since your Asian town is inside of a black city, what's called Chocolate City? Why don't you buy our products from us? Especially if we're going to sell it to you, it's just as good and it's cheaper. And the Asians told them, they said, you blacks don't understand. It's not the price, it's not the quality. It says that we as Asians, we only buy from our own people. See, only you black folk would buy from any and everybody. We don't play that as Asians. That's right here in Washington, D.C. We aren't buying from anybody else. That's why when, you know, Carl Nelson on the radio station, Carl Nelson down in Miami, he did the same thing. I said, man, he's out there talking to one Chinese guy that's the biggest seller of products, food services into the Caribbean islands, those black islands. Carl went down there to Carl had a Mystic Radio. It was owned by Stevie Wonder. And Carl went over to sell him some radio time to this Chinese guy, a multi-billionaire. He said, I want you, this multi-billionaire showed Charles White, Asian billionaire, showed Carl all around the town, all around his building, show how he became a multi-billionaire by selling food services, products and goods into the Caribbean islands, into the Virgin Islands, Bahamas, Jamaicas, and all this, how he becomes so rich. And he said, now to Carl, he said, but how can I help you now, Carl? Carl said, what I want you to do is just buy some time on Mystic Radio, which is our black radio station. You know what this Chinese guy said to him? He said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And Carl said, why not? I want you to buy time on our radio station. He said, I'm Chinese. He says, against our culture. He says, in our culture, the black man must always follow the China man. The China man does not follow the black man. We only stick with our own people. And I went and checked around on that. I found over 33,000 Chinese Asians that have become multi-billionaires just off of selling goods and services to black folk in America. That's everything with clothes and shoes and everything else, but I could not find not one Chinese guy. And I'm heading up trade missions. I'm representing the United States and taking trade missions into different countries from Europe and the Caribbean and Africa. I could not find not one black American who become a billionaire off of selling something that was selling products to Asians. Asians said, we'll sell to you all. We'll manufacture. We'll make the wigs. We'll go find horse hair, any kind of hair. We'll cut it. We'll find hair off of anybody in these poorest people in the world. We'll cut that hair off. We'll make wigs for you black folk. Half the time they got bugs and diseases and infestation in it. We'll sell it to y'all, but we're going to control those wigs. We're never going to let black folk make any money. And so what I'm saying to you, to get to past the point, it ain't about necessarily the quality. It's the commitment to buy from your own people first and foremost, and to stick with them and give them a chance to build their structures and to stay tight as an economic order. That's what we can't get to. That's what we should be striving for. And black folk can fix chicken, then build your own chicken restaurants, franchise them across the country. That's why I tried to build a seafood factory. I built a seafood factory here in Washington, D.C. I became the biggest producer of seafood in the United States, period. Not for just black, period. I was raising 1 million pounds of fish annually, clean fish and clean water. And what I was trying to do is set up a vertical order so blacks could take over and dominate the seafood industry on a very simple powernomics principle, which says always dominate in business where you dominate in population. Buy from your own people first. Always dominate in business where you dominate in population and consumer spending patterns. And since black folk eat 3 to 4 times more seafood than whites, they spend $9 for every $1 whites spend, then we should be controlling the seafood industry. And so I built a factory so I can raise the fish. That's all I want black folk to do is to buy the fish at the lowest level, then build warehouses, distributorships, retail outlets, and to a chain of black seafood restaurants across the country. I even went to talk to Darden restaurants to buy out some of the Red Lobster restaurants. I'm gonna have Black Lobster restaurants all over the United States. And yet, right here in Washington, D.C., raising 1 million pounds of fish a year, I had 14 black restaurants up in Baltimore. And guess what? They said, we'll come, if you build this order, we'll come by. And in 9 years, guess how many fish black people bought? Out of my raising 1 million pounds of fish a year for black folk to build a vertical system to only control the seafood industry in America. I had the foundation. I was selling fish, lobsters, crabs, and oysters. they would have a chain of lobster, black lobster restaurant. I'm just saying black lobster that have been equal to red lobster. And guess what? After 9 years, you know how many fish I sold, pounds of fish I sold to blacks? 40. And I was raising I was raising 1 million pounds a year. So after 9 years, I had to raise 9 million pounds of fish, and black folk about 40.
Wow.
See, because they don't, so it's what I'm saying, you got to learn how to buy from your own people and control stuff. Own and control. Quit buying Popeyes. You start using a restaurant called Cross-Eyed. You can get some Cross-Eyed. I don't give a damn. We also get Cross-Eyed restaurants. And then buy from your own people and tell the blacks, I'm going to buy from you. But you make this stuff as clean, make it look good, decorate it, and clean the place up, and give us some security down there where nobody would rape our women and rob our children, and make sure the product is good as soon as you can. But in the meantime, we will support you until you reach that point.
All right, everybody. I'm talking to, in case you just came in, I'm talking to Dr. Claud Anderson. He's the author of the books, Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, and Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. If you haven't done this yet, go to powernomics.com and you can pick up the Powernomics Power Pack, which includes all 5 books plus a DVD for just $99. So go check that out. It's well worth it. It's a very good investment for you and your family. So powernomics.com. Somebody please type that in the chat. And also, please hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell. If you have not done this yet, please hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell. And I'm going to take 1 second and acknowledge those of you who've been donating in the super chat since we started talking. I want to say thank you very much. Your money will be put to good use. I want to acknowledge Big Hurt from Royal Canary Car Care. That's the name of his company, Royal Canary Car Care. Big Hurt, thank you so much for your support. Tammy Printup from Primerica Financial Services. She says it can make your money work for you. Thank you very much for your support. Reginald Smith, Marcus Love, and Miranda Love. Thank you very much for both of you in supporting the platform. If you'd like to support and become a patron of the growth of Black media, we're going to make more movies next year. We have several movies that we're going to put out. A couple of them. One is Black Capital with director Peter Parker, who's in very high demand right now. He's doing movies for Netflix and everybody else, and he's going to come back and work with us again. Black Capital. We've also got a film I'm doing with Rick Mathis, who made the Black Friday series. The film is called Young Money Makers. That's what it is. Young Money Makers, which is all about young Black people who are making money and doing well in terms of wealth. And then 3, we're going to put out the Black Love Blueprint 2, #Boyce and Alicia. So we decided that we were going to document our process all the way up to the wedding as a celebration of Black love, because Black love is necessary to build Black economics, because if you don't love and trust each other, then you can't do business with each other. So one of the most important things we must do is learn to love ourselves, learn to love each other, and learn to build strong relationships. And last but not least, before I bring it back to Dr. Anderson, I want to remind everybody we are in New York this weekend. This is going to be the last time we're going to be here for a while. There are a few tickets left if you'd like to come to our event on Sunday. It is going to be a powerful financial Juneteenth investment seminar, 8 hours long of nothing but Black economics, everything from how to build your own family economy, your own family bank, how to build wealth for your family for the next 100 years, how to turn your kids into millionaires, and everything you want to know about the stock market. So if you'd like to come out, go to drboycenewyork.com. That's drboycenewyork.com. Buy your pass in advance, because I think we might sell out. So you may want to buy your pass in advance. We're right here in Midtown Manhattan, and it's a beautiful hotel. You're going to love it. So Dr. Anderson,
Boyce, let me make one other point let me take about a minute to conclude. I was telling you about the waterland raising the fish for Black folk. I want to show how group economics would work effectively. And I was speaking up in Portland, Oregon, and they were telling me, I started talking about gas stations. They said, I said, how many gas stations you got? They said, well, we got one. And I said, how's he doing? He said, well, he's not doing it. It's run down and he doesn't have very much business. I said, where you getting your gas? He said, we got the rest of the gas station owned by whites. I said, why don't you practice group economics? They said, how do we do that? I said, what we can do, you go down to that black gas station. And I said, I want you all to go talk to him and tell him, look, we're going to start buying our gas. All Blacks in this city are going to start buying gas from you. Buy from your gas station. But here's what Dr. Anderson wants to tell you. We're going to buy our gas from you. And when we start buying it from you, we want you to understand, when the money comes in to buy it from you, three things we want you to do. First of all, make sure you clean this place up, paint it up where it looks halfway decent and clean, point 1, and it's safe with some security around it in case nobody be getting robbed while they're getting their gas, point 1. Point 2, for the little products you sell in the store, make sure they are fresh products as best you can get. and and as soon as you can get it. And 3, change your negative, nasty attitude. So we come in here to buy from you, that you smile when black folk come into this gas station to buy something. You just go run to the door and welcome and say, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. I said, that's all the 3 things I want you all to do up here for this one black gas station out of about 20 or 30 white gas stations. And they said, we're going to try it, Dr. Anderson. And so amazingly, in about 3 or 4 weeks, it made the front pages of the paper up in Portland. Guess what? The newspaper were concerned about why they went to this gas station that had been fixed up, and blacks were lined up for 2 to 3 blocks on Saturday morning trying to buy gas from that black gas station. And that made a big difference. They started buying, all the blacks in that city started buying the gas and little products from that one black gas station, which made a major difference. And you can still do it. That's what the other groups do. They buy from their own people. In Detroit, Michigan, a black city, a 92% black city, they got 146 gas stations. Guess what? Arabs now have gone in there and can now control and own 144 of them. Only 2 black gas stations in the city out of 146 in Detroit, Michigan. And blacks are spending their money on everybody but their own. And these Arabs put up all these damn bulletproof glass. They sell you bad food, do all kind of stuff. But black folks still go to those stores rather than going to their own black gas stations, their own black grocery stores. Practice group economics. That's the basis of Powernomics principle number 1. Spend your money and dominate in business wherever you dominate in products, services, and goods, and get the best buys you can get from your own people.
Well, you know, I love what you just said, Dr. Anderson. And first of all, I want to say, in terms of support, I want to make sure I acknowledge Kiana Courtney. Thank you very much for your donation. Also, don't forget, guys, that if you have a black-owned business, a couple of things I want to mention to you guys in terms of what we want to do for you in the Black Business School. You can sign up for a free membership. So if you don't at least have a free membership, get the free membership, because free membership is better than college. A lot of y'all went $100,000, $50,000 in debt to go to college. Even the free membership in the Black Business School is better than what you spend all that money for in college. So that's theblackbusinessschool.com. We got people right there that are ready to talk to you at theblackbusinessschool.com. And the reason I want you guys to do that is because in order to run good businesses, we have to really understand what that looks like. One of the most important things, like Dr. Anderson just talked about, is customer service has to be very important. We talk a lot about the black consumers neglecting the black businesses, but what we don't discuss as much are black businesses that neglect the black consumers. I don't know if anybody's ever gone into a black business where you almost feel like they disrespect you more because you look like them. You know, like you walk up in there and you talk to the person at the counter and they act like you're interrupting their day. You know, I go through that all the time in Chicago, Southside Chicago. You know, they got a couple of restaurants where I was like, I'm not coming back to these businesses. I don't care who owns it, because if I'm your customer and I'm giving you my money, I expect you to treat me with the same respect I'm gonna get from any business that wants my money. You will never, black or white or otherwise, you are never gonna get my money and disrespect me at the same time. That ain't gonna happen, you know. And so I think that, you know, to your point, Dr. Anderson, what you said to that business about, you know, making sure that you're doing your best, that you don't look at the black customer as a lower tier customer. That's what it is. They look at black people, they say, oh, it's just a bunch of Negroes, who cares about them? And instead of looking at them that way, you should look at them as superior. You know, right. You should see black, you say, okay, you're black like me, I'm going to treat you extra special because you're black. I'm going to give you extra dignity and honor because you're black. And I think that people don't understand that. I know that one of the things that we always talked about in business is customer service is real important to us, you know, and I don't understand, you know, I think that, well, I'm gonna say I don't understand. I think that a lot of our business owners have to make sure they understand one important thing. And I want to share this with you guys as a secret. Make customer service your #1 priority for your business. That has to be the most important thing. You must, Jeff Bezos, Dr. Anderson, who actually is the richest man in the world, who started Amazon.com. One of his secrets to building Amazon was he became obsessed with connecting with his customers and making his customers happy. Did you have anything else you wanted to say to that in terms of?
To wrap that up for you so we can both get off now. I'm going to give you the last example of that, with the point you're making. You remember the old Howard Johnson restaurants that were very popular about maybe 20 or 30 years ago, Howard Johnson? They had hotels and also had restaurants attached to them. Well, when I was courting back in those days, dating my wife, I used to always stop at the Howard Johnson restaurant. It wasn't too far from her. And at that time, the neighborhood was going through a transition period, going from basically from white to black. But I used to always stop in that restaurant because you know why? Because that time they used to have the best banana splits you can get, Howard Johnson banana splits. And I would go into this Howard Johnson restaurant, and when you walked up to the counter, there's a little stand there for takeouts. And I would walk up to the takeout stand. I was standing there like this. At that time, they had all whites, working there. And she said, "What would you like?" I said, "I like a banana split." She said, "Yes, sir, we'll get it for you." And I said, "This is nice, good, clean food, nice atmosphere." But I said, "But where are all the blacks in here?" And so she brought me back the banana split. The white woman did. I said, "Lady," I said, "May I have one of your suggestion cards over there behind the counter?" She said, "Yes." She gave me a suggestion card. I took the suggestion card. This is for all your listeners now. I said, "May I have this suggestion card?" I said, "Dear sir, the owner of this business," I said, "this neighborhood is in transition. It's going from a white neighborhood to a black neighborhood. And this restaurant now has a lot of blacks coming here as customers. I think it'll be appropriate for you to start hiring some blacks in this restaurant, to be in accordance with the transition that's going through." And I said, "This is Dr. Claud Anderson, blah, blah." And I gave it to her. And she put it dropped it in the suggestion box. I came back about a month and a half later, stopped it again, went in there. This time I walked straight up to the takeout counter again. I looked around, and lo and behold, there was a black woman down on the counter. She's down like this on the counter, reading the newspaper, leaning on her elbows, reading. And I stood there. Dr. Watkins, I must have stood there no less than 10 to 12 minutes, just waiting for her to see if she's gonna come and ask me what I wanted. Then, without even lifting her arms elbows off the counter, she leaned her head over and said, "You want something?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "What do you want?" I said, "Would you give me one of them other damn suggestion cards again? I got something to put on that son of a bitch, okay?" "You get rid of this heifer as fast as you can." I said, "I'm the one that wrote that earlier damn suggestion. I made a big ass mistake, okay? I made a mistake. You had the wrong ass person in the wrong place." I said, "I enjoy coming here. She has no respect for your customers. Get rid of it." And so when I tell blacks to go in business, respect your customers, appreciate them, and go out of your way. Just like the Japanese run and say, "Oh, I take glad welcome to my restaurant." I want blacks to treat their customers just like that. I don't care whether you're buying automobile tires or you're buying cross-eyed chicken sandwiches or whatever you want. You just make sure you take care of your customers, respect your people, and make sure your money bounces with your own people 8 to 12 times. Try your best not to ever let your money leave your own hands. Build wealth, keep the wealth in your own neighborhoods, okay? And that's what I like to close out with.
All right, well, I think that's a wonderful way to close out. So I'd like to ask everybody, number one, if you could hit the thumbs up button, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we go live. Please hit that notification bell right now if you can. Number two, please give Dr. Claud Anderson a digital round of applause. Please say something in the chat to let this man know how much we appreciate him. A lot of you are watching right now, and I like to make sure we let him know because it's a tough fight out here. It's the fight with black intelligence is tough in a world full of ignorance, and you got a lot of blind, deaf, and stupid people out here. And so please let him know how much you appreciate him. Second of all, I want to say that his website, if you want to go check out any of his books and subscribe to his YouTube channel, please support. Go to powernomics.com. That's powernomics.com. That's where all of his books are. You can get all 5 books in the DVD for just $99 in the Power Pack. That's right there. I want to acknowledge Gigi. Thank you, Gigi, for your donation. Anybody who wants to be a patron of intelligent black media, we're trying to take over media all throughout the world. We're trying to become Tyler Perry without the Medea dress, right? The Tyler Perry Studios, wonderful place, but we know that's the house that Medea built because about 80% of his blockbuster movies were him putting on a dress. Well, I'm not gonna put on no dress. I'm gonna put on a cape and try to be Black Superman for y'all. And we're gonna build our own Tyler Perry Studios, but we could use your help. So if you want to be a patron, feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. If you join our League of Intelligent Black People, We will put that money to good use. I promise you. IntelligentBlackPeople.com. Two more quick housekeeping issues. If you want to come to our event, our pop-up Black Business School that we're doing on Sunday, our investment seminar, you can go to drboycenewyork.com. If you want to come to our space tournament, we're having a fun space tournament in Chicago, in Joliet. If you live in the Chicago area, it's going to be November 9th. You can go to drboycechicago.com. Last but not least, those of you who can't make either one, if you want to see the lectures that I'm going to give on Sunday, I've already done recordings of these lectures. You can actually check them out at drboycemasterclass.com. So there you go. So that's a bunch of information for you and your family. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. I appreciate your time, sir.
Well, thank you. And tell them, Boyce, that anything they want to know about the current political situation, any question that could arise in their mind, are answered in those 5 books that I put out there. You kind of go through there, they'll find answers to anything they want to know about the current politics and the historical politics.
All right.
All right.
Powernomics.com. All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys very much. And I know, Marcus, you said you arrived late. It's okay, brother. All you got to do is just hit the rewind button. You can watch the whole video, my friend. So thank you all very much. It's great seeing you. And those of you who are coming out on Sunday, I'll see you then. So take care and have a good day, Dr. Anderson. Take care.
And have good luck on the program up in New York now.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We in this war together. We gonna win. We can't lose. Black people are too great to lose. We don't know nothing about no second place. At least I don't either, and I know you don't. So we gonna.
Well, you're a good fighter, and that's why I respect you.
Well, thank you. Well, the respect is mutual, and also you are as my elder. You paved the way for me. So without you, there is no me. And so I want us to all remember that. Without the Dr. Andersons, there are no Boyce Watkins. There's none of that. So that's why my loyalty, y'all know where my loyalty is at. It ain't gonna change. So have a wonderful day, sir. And
thank you, buddy.
All right, have a great day, everybody.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.